Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Back on the Robart P-47. So, many of you remember that this thing had a gear collapse. It's been like 2 months now. We haven't flown this thing in forever. Part of that is that Robart no longer makes landing gear. So, I damaged the retract unit, and I had actually bought some E-Flight electric gear for the 60cc P-51, and these actually swing the gear like better than the Robarts by a pretty good amount, and they're really nicely made. The problem is there's some differences. This is a 90-degree unit, and also I didn't notice it till today, but the trunnion that holds the strut on the Robart is not straight. It has a kick out. So essentially what that does is it kicks the gear leg forward when the gear come down. So that being said, everything's set up for that in the P-47, and so I could have made those work potentially, but it would have been a lot of rework to make those fit. So excuse the mess. We got a lot of a lot of stuff going on. But the reason that the gear was damaged was that the tail wheel collapsed. And you can see that the jack screw, and so this part right here spins, the motor spins this part, and then the jack screw gets pulled in and pushed out while this spins. And somehow, somehow the aluminum got stripped out. So the aluminum got stripped out, and the gear stopped working, and it was locked in a down position while we were flying it. I noticed the gear wasn't going up. So then after I landed, I came over here and pushed on this, and I'm like, oh, well, that would explain it. It's pretty much hammered. So all I did was, because I didn't want to stop flying, I think it was, excuse me, geez. I want to say we've only had this model out twice. And it was the second time. Only the second time to the field with the model, and it was the first flight. Jeepers. Need some water. And so I just pushed it out, locked it in place, and kept flying it. And that worked fine. And then I think the third time we took it to the field, I think on flight 4 or 5, came in to land, and this went back over center from vibration or impact from landing. But anyways, it collapsed. And so when the tail wheel collapsed, obviously no steering, it veered to the right, and the gear collapsed. And unfortunately, that video was no sound. It didn't have any sound. So, oh geez, hiccups now. Didn't have any sound, so it wasn't one of the videos we posted though. But anyways, what had happened was, so you can see here, the plastic has these detents for locked up and locked down. So the jack screw pulls this thing. Those aluminum bars slide up and down on those pins, and you can see I've got a nut here. So essentially what happened was these pins are not very stiff. They're just like regular steel, I think. But anyway, they're 1/4 inch. But anyways, the one pin that actually controls the locking, which is the one up against the plastic here, the pin on that one, it bent. So all the side load causes it to essentially bend that pin. This thing stayed in position essentially, and it just bent the pin. There's a lot of side. This thing weighs 40 pounds. So, and it started to ground loop pretty hard. So anyways, it bent the pin. So I tried to get a whole new trunnion assembly with the pins, but they're somebody bought Robart, and so they're starting to make parts and different gear units, but they're not making these ones yet. They're only making the rotating gear so far. So anyways, I contacted them. They didn't have any actual trunnion units here. They had pins, but didn't do me a whole lot of good. So unless I were to just, so they're welded in. You can see this one is welded in. I could have done that. I'm not great at welding, and the welder we have probably wouldn't have done a very good job. So what I did was I drilled it out. I broke it off. I tried bending it back first, and then it just broke. So it broke off. I drilled it out, but not all the way. And then I tried tapping it. Getting through this weld, though, this weld is super hard. And I was able to finally get it tapped out. So this is like a grade 8, or it's a really high grade bolt that I used, a quarter 28 bolt that I just trimmed down and use as the pin. So anyways, I put the nut on there just as some insurance to help hold it in place, but it probably doesn't really need the nut. But anyways, it's fixed, it's working, and I just need to reinstall it now. Okay, so we got this one, which was the broken one, all dialed in. I got the doors actually fitting even tighter than before. They fit really nice now. So I did the same thing to this one. And you might also notice that we got an upgrade on the wheels and tires. So I had those Dubro, they were 6-inch tires that I had like ground down to be a little bit smaller because they were super chunky, if you will. But the problem is they're a little heavy, and also they were wobbly, so they were kind of lopsided. Probably because I drilled the hole out not quite straight or something. But anyways, when you do touch and goes, those things would get to wobbling pretty good. So I picked up these. These are Sierra wheels, P-47 wheels. So I got the same. I ordered these when I ordered the ones for the Corsair. So the Corsair also has scale wheels now. So, and these are 5.5-inch tires, which honestly is just about right. The 6s might have been, well, they weren't quite 6. They were about 6 3/4. They might have been just a hair big. These look pretty nice. 5 definitely too small. 5.5 looks just about right. And the tire ratio to wheel, or wheel to ratio, can't talk. Tire to wheel ratio is about right as well. So anyways, it's got this one working. Unfortunately, while I was doing gear swings, I plugged the aileron servo into my landing gear controller, which was the Robart controller. And so I ended up using the E-Flight controller that came with the P-51 gear that I bought and am not using currently. So I'm going to be using this. It works fine. I'm running it on 3S Lifey. So it seems to be doing just great. And the cool thing about this controller is that I can do gear doors as well. So once I actually get to doing the inner gear doors on this thing, I'll just be able to plug them into that and set them up. It comes with a little programmer. So I don't know if you can program servo endpoints with the doors, the door situation. I have to read up on it. I haven't really done any reading aside from the real basics. So anyways, I'm using that now. Well, I'm using the E-Flight controller. So yeah. So I'm saying so a lot. I know. The Bearcat still broke from the last time we had a gear collapse. Well, the down lock broke because it ground looped. So I got some steel this time because I used aluminum this last time, and the original ones are steel. So I tried aluminum, didn't do the job. So this poor thing's been sitting about as long as the P-47 has, a couple of months anyways, maybe even 3, I don't know. But I also got my new Synapse receiver for this because I pulled the receiver out of this to put in the MB339. So I got my new receiver I got to put in it. I also got a smoke pump, which I don't know if I'm going to put that in right at the moment. But anyways, so I need to get the gear fixed on that. Probably do that tomorrow. So this thing is all flyable now. My friend Michael Rosnick, some of you guys know him from RC Groups. He 3D printed me a full set of P-47 cockpit parts that are really, really cool. So like, just check out the seat. I mean, the seat's got all the details in it. And he resin printed them for me, so huge thank you to Michael for doing that. And I did have a cockpit kit that came with the model. Some of it looks to be mostly scale, some of it not so much. So this will be nice. I'll probably end up using most of these parts. Here's the seat that came with it. Not a terrible seat, honestly. Like, I can use this at some point, something. But I also picked up a pilot. So This is I think he's a 1/5 scale. A little on the small side, but not too bad. So he's gonna look just about right at home in the P-47. I also got a new canopy, so if you remember, I don't have the actual Robart P-47 canopy, and I sure wish I did because it's a lot nicer than what I have. So this is a Zroli P-47 canopy that I got with the kit, and obviously it's not the right one. It's not a Robart canopy, it's a Zroli. So anyways, I ordered a new canopy, so I have a fresh Zroli canopy because you can't buy parts for these anymore. So what I'm going to have to do is it's going to kill me, but I'm going to have to cut off this frame and then mount the Zroli canopy on here. Obviously, I got to cut out where it's all going to go. Got to build an actual cockpit box and then start mounting everything in it, paint it, and all that jazz. So that's kind of next on the list. Next will be the cockpit, and then I still have to do the radial. Fake radial engine. I have it, just haven't had time. Obviously, I just got home yesterday from another work trip. So the work trips are going to be kind of taming down for a while. And so it'll be a very similar, well, it's the exact same radial as this one, but very similar install, similar baffling with the radial. So this one's just going to be opposite. I'm going to have the cooling air exit the top of the cowling versus the bottom like it is in the Corsair and the Bearcat. So anywho, we're hoping to take P-47 and the Corsair. I'd love to take all three, but the club up here is doing a little Memorial Day like warbird flying thing. So I don't know how many people are going to show up, but for sure I'm going to take P-47 and Corsair just because these two airplanes, I've flown the Corsair there. You guys saw the video of me flying it at the dirt field up here. The Corsair and the P-47 can handle that field probably a little bit better than the Bearcat. Bearcat's landing gear, as you know, a little finicky. It is supposed to be pretty breezy, so if there were any time to fly the Bearcat, it would be on Monday, because it's going to be a pretty solid headwind, which would be nice. But I know for a fact that this airplane, the Corsair, will do awesome off the dirt strip. So anyways, I gotta get this cockpit done, so I'll at least have that done. And maybe instead of fixing the Bearcat tomorrow, maybe I'll just double down on this thing and get the radial done and the cockpit done. That would essentially make the model complete minus like the guns and the gear doors, which I'll get to hopefully. There is an event in Orange County at the end of June, so I really wanted to get the Corsair painted by then. Not sure if that's going to happen or not, but I'm gonna push for that. But I need to get this thing done first, because I can always take it like this, even though I don't care for this paint scheme. But I need the P-47 pretty much done, because Bentley will probably end up flying this at that event. So, and he got a new P-47. He got the FMS one. But anyways, this video's gone on way too long, so hope you guys like the update on the P-47 and the shop projects. And we'll tune in after Monday. Hopefully we'll have a cockpit done and maybe even the radial engine. So anyways, hope you guys liked it, and we'll see you in the next one.